Welcome to the Grab the Map podcast, where we don't just look at it, we grab the map. I'm your host, Johnoson Crutchfield. I host Grab the Map Education. You can always visit us at grabthemapllc.com, or you can reach me at grabthemap@gmail.com. We specifically talk to real estate investors who are looking to buy rental real estate. We like to talk to people who are new, people who are trying to grow their businesses, or people who are just trying to get better. And we believe that you live your life in a way where you grab the map, take advantage of this life. We only have one of them. Our time is limited. And so we don't just look at opportunities, we actually grab them and take care of them. Today's topic, how to network. How do you network? We've heard these phrases that are so important, these phrases that are on every podcast that you listen to or every book that you read. Stuff like your net worth is your network, or the opposite, right? Stuff like it's not who you know or what you know, it's who you know, right? These phrases that tell us that it's important to network. And right now, I want to talk to you real quick. How do you network? A few years ago, I worked at a job where I did not have to be in front of people. My job really was to work on the computer and to type in paperwork, and maybe I had to talk to people by phone, but definitely not in-person conversations. You see, naturally as a kid, I was an introvert. I would sit in a closet sometimes and I would record music or record content that allowed me not to have to interact with people. It would just be me in my room. And I would get so much energy from just being alone, from sitting in a room, maybe watching a show and being to myself. That's called an introvert. And I am a natural introvert. I ended up getting into teaching, which still allowed me to be an introvert because I was able to kind of keep my kids quiet in my classroom and we stayed to ourselves. And I still didn't have to go out and interact with lots of different adults that made me nervous. Then I decided I wanted to be the principal of a school. And I can tell you this, a principal that's an introvert is a tough thing. You've got to be able to talk to all different types of people and have to have a front-facing attitude when you're dealing with the public. And that taught me something. You can be an introvert that knows how to be extroverted. You can be an inside person who enjoys being inside of yourself and being alone, that also knows that there are times when you must reach out, build relationships, and network. If that's you, then we have something in common. But if it's not you and you're naturally an extrovert, you naturally build relationships, I'm going to talk about some strategies that we all can use to grow our network. Okay. Our network is so important. We talk to people and they say, well, you got to network. You got to get out there. You got to get to know people. You got to let people know you. And guess what? That is absolutely true. Real estate is a relationship business. You need relationships with contractors. You need relationships with bankers. You need relationships with insurance agents. You need relationships with all kinds of people. You need relationships with investors. You need relationships with buyers and sellers. You need relationships. And I'm telling you, you only get those relationships from networking. Okay. Sometimes you happen to have the relationships in your family, but for the most part, most of us are also having to expand our network. We're having to build our network. When Facebook came out a few years ago, I guess it's been about 10 years or maybe 13 years. I don't know, because I'm getting older and I don't like to admit it. But when it first came out, I had a few friends and my friends' number would go up, on a monthly basis. And then, my friends started going up and up and up. And now it's, I guess, capped at a certain number. But that network started to expand as I started to meet new people. And what you want to do as a real estate investor or as a potential real estate investor is start that process now. Look at your contacts in your phone. Okay. And we're going to start talking about some specific things you can do now. Look at the contacts in your phone. Okay. How many contacts are in there right now? How many contacts have you made contact with recently? Recently being within the last 6 months. Could you reach out to those contacts and just say, hey, hello, haven't talked to you in a long time, still remember you. I remember this memory, hope you're well, right? Those network opportunities that you have are the first step. How do you make contact with the people that you've already made contact with that you need to keep in your network, that you need to keep those relationships strong? Maybe it's a quick email that you send to everybody in your email contact list that you've ever emailed. Personal email, just saying, hey, look, I remember this time when you helped me with this, or I helped you with this, and I remember, and I just wanted to say thank you again. I know it's been a long time, but I want to keep things fresh. Make sure that in that email, in your signature, it says what you do. Make sure it says that you're a real estate investor. Make sure it says that you buy properties or that you wholesale properties or flip properties. Whatever it is that you do, if you provide real estate education, make sure that your communications out, although they're focused on building the relationship, also have some identification in it that says what that you do, maybe subtly. You can do the same thing with text messages, right? Send text messages out and let people know that you've thought about them, that you appreciate them, that you want to keep the relationship strong. These type of communications build your network. They strengthen your network. If you're like me, you've also damaged some relationships in the past. Maybe you did some things that you didn't want to do, or some things that you probably shouldn't have done in your youth, right? I know that as a young man, pretty cocky, pretty prideful. And so there have been times where I've told people, hey, look, I just don't want to deal with you anymore. Or I've told people, hey, look, we don't need to be friends. We don't need to communicate. Those type of connections and relationships are relationships that we want to rekindle. We want to, if not have them be the strongest, to at least have them be in a state where if somebody comes across an opportunity that helps both of you or meets both of your needs, they think of you, right? So think about those relationships that maybe are weak, maybe they experience some damage, and how can you repair those? We don't want to leave a path of damaged relationships in our past, because you never know. Those relationships may be the ones that bring you business as you grow your real estate investing business. Those might be the private money partners. Those might be the people that send you an apartment deal or a single family house, if that's what you want to do. Okay. So first thing you do is look at your current network, look in your contacts, look in your email, look on your social media. Okay. And start to network. Start to say hello to the people that you already know. Start to remind the people that you already know what you do, and start to let them know that you care about them. That is the most important thing you can do. Let your family know and your friends know that you care about them. And in those conversations, naturally, sometimes it's going to come up that you're a real estate investor. And you don't have to immediately tell these people that I'm a real estate investor. And I want you to remember that. You just want to create and build genuine relationships where these topics are naturally going to come up. You know, when I'm talking to a investor or a family member or anybody that I'm networking with right now, it often comes up, well, what do you do? What do you do for a living? And although I teach for a living, I also invest in real estate. And so I usually start off with the one that I want them to know first, right? I'm a real estate investor and I'm also an educator. And in that conversation, I immediately ask them what they do, because my goal in networking is to create win-wins. It's to create relationships where I can help them and they can help me. And we can all coexist in a way that benefits us all. So, how to network? Reach out to your existing contacts. Number 2, there are places where real estate investors go. Did you know? There are things that real estate investors like to do in common. There are conferences and meetup groups. There are local events where real estate investors often attend those events because they have a common interest and they want to interact with other people that have that common interest. Have you looked on local websites to find out about meetups in your area where people are interested in in real estate investing? Have you looked on Facebook or Instagram or some other social media platforms and joined investor related groups where investors talk about doing deals, right? Have you joined a local meetup or have you registered for a conference? There are tons of conferences that offer real estate education, tons of conferences that offer to help people grow in this area and bring people together that have real estate as a common interest. And you should be attending those meetups. Maybe you can't meet up all the time. Maybe you're busy, but this is one of those things that you really want to make time for. Meetups. Next, let's talk about introductions. If you don't introduce yourself to new people, lots of times you won't meet any. And if you shun other people trying to introduce themselves to you, you won't meet them. You see, I'm an introvert, and so I naturally have a tendency to cut off a conversation before it gets too deep or before the person is able to really start a conversation with me because I naturally am uncomfortable meeting new people. But in networking, you really want to create some great introductions. You want to support introductions as well. So practice in your spare time. How do I introduce myself to people that I don't know, right? Remember, if you prepare, you often will feel less anxiety and less fear, okay? So have an introduction. Have a 1-minute little blurb that you say about yourself where you're used to introducing yourself. Hi, I'm John Crutchfield. I'm a real estate investor and educator. I love investing in real estate. I love teaching people about how to do new things and how to grow their businesses and their lives. I would love to talk more with you and find out what you like as well. Think about your introduction. Make an introduction. Set goals with your introductions. How many times are you going to introduce yourself every day? I have a story about how, I used to get on these buses because I used to have to travel on the bus. You can read about this in my book. It's Grab the Map, and you can find it on our website at grabthemapllc.com. But I used to get on these buses to travel back and forth, and I would be sitting next to people who would try to strike up a conversation. And I would immediately, probably answer shortly and try to end the conversation because it was a long bus ride and I didn't want to be talking to this person the entire bus ride. But one of the guys that has become one of my best mentors is a guy who heard me talking about real estate on a bus, and he made an introduction to me. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know what I did other than that he had kind of heard a conversation, and he made the introduction that caused us to have a really good connection. You can be that same person that makes introductions or receives introductions better. Make them happen. Don't forget as well that when you're networking, it's all about branding. Are you introducing people to somebody who they want to be like? Do you look like somebody they would want to look like? Do you have things that it looks like they would want to have? See, networking is also about branding. And in this business, a lot of people get into real estate because they want to provide a better financial future for their families. They want to make more money. They want to have more stuff. And yes, it's important that your brand also supports that. All right. Think about the things that you wear when you go out. Think about the things that you have, the things that you show, right? I've got a friend who I talked to him about his cell phone because he's an aspiring real estate investor and his cell phone didn't work very well. His cell phone was all cracked up, and anytime you called him or tried to have a conversation with him, it was just a very poor phone. He didn't get pictures on his phone and all of that kind of stuff. And I told him that, hey man, as a part of the brand that you're trying to build in your business, you need to have a communication tool. It is an investment. Your phone needs to be able to do lots of different things so that people can connect with you. They can contact you. You can be very responsive. And so you got to get a new phone. You got to get a good phone, and it needs to be one that you're very comfortable with using so that you can have a brand that other people are attracted to. So think about your brand. Think about how you can attract people to you and how you are attracted to other people, because that's a part of networking. Next, join a mastermind. Get around people that are already doing the business that you want to do. Maybe they're doing more business that you're doing. Maybe their business is growing. Maybe their business has already grown to where you want your business to be. And then join their mastermind. I know there are a lot of masterminds out here and a lot of people that claim that they are the masters, right? But a great mastermind has lots of different people with lots of different experiences in that mastermind where you can bounce off things with different people that are at different levels. Yes, a mastermind is probably going to cost money. A mastermind is probably going to take an investment because people want to make sure that you're actually motivated and that they can actually support you, that they can spend the time supporting you in a way that doesn't take away from them being able to earn in some other way, right? So join a mastermind. It's a great way to network and find like-minded individuals. Lastly, networking probably is going to take you out of your comfort zone. If you're not on social media, maybe you'll have to join social media. If you don't like talking to strangers, you'll probably have to start talking to strangers. If you don't normally set goals for how many conversations you're going to have on a daily basis, you're probably going to have to set goals for how many conversations you're going to have every day. If you don't like cold calling, you're probably going to have to cold call. If you don't like being flashy or attracting attention, you're probably going to have to be a little flashy and attract some attention. If you don't like making introductions or going to meetups, you're probably going to have to do that. There's a lady I talked to just this morning who said, "Hey, I'm really nervous. I've never been to your meetup. I've heard about your meetups, but we haven't been yet because I'm an introvert and I don't like meeting new people and being outside of my comfort zone." But guess what she said? She said, "I'm going to be at the next meetup because I know it's something that I need to do and I need to be around like-minded people." These are some strategies that I wanted to offer today to get you to figure how to network. How do I build my net worth by having a network that's more in line with where I'm trying to go? See, here at Grab the Map, we encourage you to increase your net worth by expanding your network. And we're not the first to say that. Say it, nor will be the last. But I want to encourage you to not just look at it, but to grab the map.